Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a look at a new GX. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Keldeo GX has been revealed today. And as we get started, right, I would like to officially lodge my displeasure. We've had Virizion GX. We've had Cobalion GX. We've now got Keldeo GX. Where is Terrakion? I literally made a video a few weeks back arguing that we need Terrakion GX, and now the card designers are like, what's that, Wassy? You need a Keldeo GX? No, that's not what I said. The good news is this Keldeo GX is really good. Now, first downside, it's got 170 HP. Now, that is absolutely huge because Pikachu and Zekrom does 170 to the bench with its Tag Team GX attack. Which means that if they can hit you, they won't always be able to. More on that in a moment. But if they can, that is a one-hit KO. One of the biggest downsides of Pokemon at the moment are multiple prize Pokemon that can be KO'd by the residual damage from Picarom's GX attack. This one can. It is an extremely bad thing. The good news is it's weak to grass, and grass is just not terribly relevant at the moment, so that's quite nice. And retreat cost of 2 kind of sucks, if I'm honest with you. Hey-ho, can't win them all. But it is a water Pokemon, which means you can use Brooklet Hill to search it out. You can use Aqua Patch to accelerate energy, and you've got the combination of Naganadel and Quagsire, which can also be used to accelerate a little bit of energy up to it. The thing is that the previous Keldeo, the Keldeo EX, really was an amazing card when used with Floatstone for free retreat and all that. It was featured in multiple World Championship winning decks. Keldeo GX has got a lot to live up to. Oh, also it's hitting weakness on Blacephalon, which is really good, and it's hitting weakness against all the fire stuff, which is going to be starting to take over soon. Reshiram and Charizard is going to be wonderful. It's probably the best deck in Japan right now. Make no mistake about it, great time to be a water Pokemon. But I keep saying it's good. Why is it good? Well, our translation comes from the lovely David Hockman over at Rappelman TCG. And the ability reads, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon EX or Pokemon GX. It has complete immunity from EX and GX Pokemon, and it's not just damage, ladies and gentlemen. It is all effects of attacks, including damage. For as long as this is in the active or even on the bench, because it doesn't say when it's active, it cannot be hit. So earlier when I was talking about Picarom, that's what I was getting at. Yes, Picarom can in theory do 170 to this on the bench, and it still can, incidentally, they can still target it. But no damage actually goes through while this ability is in play. That is absolutely huge. This blocks EX and GX Pokemon. That's crazy good. Now, it's not actually unique at the moment. We do have a Pokemon that essentially has this ability. It's Hooper. We've got the Hooper from Shining Legends, which does this. The thing is, Hooper's got very low HP. Now, to be fair, Hooper's also a single prize Pokemon. But Hooper has very low HP and a frankly bad attack. Like, as mean as that sounds, sorry Hooper, it's nothing personal, mate, but it's not got a good attack, and it's incredibly weak, so any non-GXs are just going to run right through this. The whole point of this Keldeo is it's potentially a better attacker, we'll get there, but also it can take a hit. The problem with the Hooper from Shining Legends, you know, Darkness, double, colorless, for 80 damage is bad, and then it's got 120 HP and a bad weakness, it really is not going to be staying around very long. So frankly, this is good. And there are a couple of ways to play this. Either you just use it as a handy bonus while attacking in the usual way, or you use it as a blocker. Hooper has primarily been used as a blocker. You play a whole bunch of Pokemon like Hooper, like Regigigas, who's got 180 HP and only gives up 1 prize, like Shuckle, who cannot be attacked by a Pokemon that's got fewer than 3 energy attached, etc., etc. And you just sit there blocking and occasionally using Ace Roller if your opponent can get a hit in but doesn't KO you, switching between Pokemon depending on what your opponent's playing so that they cannot attack you, they run out of cards in their deck and they lose. You can use Keldeo like that, just like we've been using Hooper. But similarly, you can just use it as an advantage. Chuck it out there, start attacking, and force your opponent to scrabble for a non-GX attacker. Because most decks will have a non-GX attacker. The difference is, it's so much easier when you've got high HP. So let's go back to Pikarom, you're blocking it, and let's remember that most of them play Zapdos. And Zapdos for a single energy does 80 damage, if you became active this turn. But it's a lightning Pokemon, so they've got Electro Power. Well, against something like a Hooper, okay, you've got to use 2 Electro Power, that's annoying, but you can comfortably one-hit KO. Against this, you've got to use 2 Electro Power and a Choice Band, or 3 Electro Power, to get a one-hit KO. It's significantly more awkward. And they can do it, let's make no mistake about it, they can do it. But it's just that extra added layer of annoyance. Yes, it gives up an extra prize, but higher HP, better weakness, and we'll get there in a second, I promise, useful attacks. Although, as always, there are timestamps in the description, as there always are in my videos where I'm talking about new Pokemon, so use them if you want. I'd rather you didn't. I'd rather you watch a whole video, obviously, but, you know, they are there if you need them. So it's a really good ability, which can either make it a blocking Pokemon, or just a good Pokemon with a handy bonus. But if it's got that ability of really good attacks, it will be significantly better. So what does it do? Well, water, colorless, 110 damage. It's alright. But it is not affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. This is really nice. We've seen a few of these kind of Pokemon lately. The Greninja GX from Detective Pikachu comes to mind. But there's just a million things this runs through. Something like a Dawnwing's Necrozma having used its GX attack. Yeah, they should be immune, but they're not. Something like a Lucario and Melmetal, which reduces damage done by 30. This still hits the 110. Something like Hooper. This will go through. Now, annoyingly, it does mean that you're 10 damage short, which is actually, like, hyper annoying. But I suppose you can't win them all. The fact that you're 10 damage short does make me genuinely a little bit sad. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's plenty of other Pokemon you're going to be avoiding here. Plenty of other things you're hitting. And it really is the combination here of I can go through you while also blocking you that's pretty huge. Now, I probably should have mentioned it earlier, but let's mention it now. This is an ability on a basic GX. So in a lot of videos I'm telling you how difficult it is to turn off abilities. That's not the case here. We've got Alolan Muck, which turns off basic Pokemon abilities. We've got Glaceon GX that turns off GX abilities, though only when it is in the active, not all the time. Make no mistake about it, you can turn it off. And a lot of deck lists are putting in a 1-1 Alolan Muck. You even see deck lists, it's a bit less popular than it used to be, but you see people putting Ditto Prism Star in their decks and then going, oh, well, as I'm playing this anyway, I might as well play a single Alolan Muck just to try and catch my opponent off guard. Alolan Muck does see a lot of play. And Alolan Muck will be used against this. And that's the biggest downside, incidentally, of this card. That Alolan Muck will turn off the ability, and that's a little bit of a pain. But make no mistake about it, this is a useful attack on a phenomenal ability Pokemon. As for the GX attack here, it's the same as Lycanroc. It's literally just Lycanroc's GX attack. It does 50 damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Incidentally, it's also Silvallai's GX attack. These GX attacks have started to cycle around. We started to see kind of 2 or 3 Pokemon with the same GX attack sometimes. I incidentally have no problem with this. It makes sense. You want these to be really powerful effects, and there's only so many of them you can really go for. And you don't want to end up with these really weird, experimental, awkward GX attacks. You want them to be really good. Again, you won't always get a giant one-hit KO with this. But you know what? It's still a lot of the time going to be good enough. It's still really good if nothing else, at stopping your opponent benching a bunch of Pokemon. You might just be able to catch them going, ha ha ha, I'm not going to bench these Pokemon I want to bench just to hurt you. Brilliant. As I've said in a million different videos and will probably say in a million more, if your opponent is deliberately not benching Pokemon to try and hurt you, that's hurting them way more than it's hurting you. And the good news is this attack and the other attack will quite easily take out Blacephalon. The main attack here, 110, will easily take out Blacephalon, although it doesn't quite get Reshiram and Charizard initially. With a Choice Band, you will be taking them down. So where does that leave us? A phenomenal ability, if a bit easy to get round. A decent attack, which is a little bit expensive, but we got good ways of accelerating energy, and is phenomenal if you're hitting for weakness. And a GX attack, which is pretty good, and will either get your one-hit KO or be a little bit disruptive. This is a good Pokemon, and I'm sorry, I know I did this at the previous video, but I'm giving this between 4 and 5 Wossies. We don't give half Wossies. That would be barbaric. I really like this. I think it's a really good Pokemon that's going to see a lot of play. I think Alolan Muck's going to be an issue, but I also think Alolan Muck is going to be rotating out just a few weeks after this comes out. So actually Alolan Muck is not going to be an issue for very, very long. But I would very much like to know what you think about this. So please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! But please do remember the rule, ladies and gentlemen. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about games that don't have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.